tell me, I'm interested in your own personal background and how that influences didn't just influence your politics, but your approach to trade unionism in terms of what you'd like trade unionism to be about as if you were General Secretary of Unite. So just tell me a bit about your backstory and how that's influenced your politics and your approach to the labour movement in terms of the trade union movement.
Yeah, I owe everything to the union, by the way. I owe my life probably to the union. If the truth be known, I mean, I left school very early on. I was dyslexic. We parted company on mutual terms. And I went to work with my dad, who was self-employed at the time. And he cleaned windows and he cleaned cars and he put up fence posts and he painted houses and he did what he did. And I went out and I worked with him. I got into a lot of trouble when I was young, and I could have gone in different directions, and a lot of my mates went in different directions. Mm-hmm. I didn't follow them. My life changed when I started work on London buses, and I joined our union. I joined the Transport for General Workers Union. I didn't have a qualification to the name, and my union gave me a new start in life. And that was about a shop steward when I first walked into Woolworth Garage in South East London, putting his arm around me and taking me on a journey, or starting a journey for me. And it gave me an opportunity to find myself. And I think that's what trade unions do. When you're in a different world, you're in a different place. Sometimes when you're unemployed and you're struggling and you ain't got anything going for you. And I feel for people that are in that same place now. That's why all this is personal for me. It's what drives me every morning when I get up to build a better world. Because I've been in a very bad world. And I see a lot of my mates, a lot of them are not with us any longer, unfortunately, for drugs and for many other reasons as well. But they died far too early, and that's painful for me. I lost my own brother very early on. That's painful for me. And I just think, the union gave me an opportunity not just to find myself, but to find a voice, but to be who I could be. It freed me up to be who I could be. It took me out of my community. It put me back into education. I ended up without a single qualification to my name, not even a CSE, to having a master's degree in industrial relations through my union. My union sponsored me to go and do that. And I did it distance learning. Just as we had our first kid, actually, I've got 3 kids, but just as we had our first kid, I decided to go off and do a distance learning course. And it was the union that sponsored me to do that, that encouraged me to do that, that put its arm around me, its collective arm around me and said, you can be better than this, you can do this, you deserve more than this. And that's the way that I take my trade unionism into workplaces when I meet people now. We deserve better. As a class, we deserve better. As working people, we deserve better. As communities, we deserve better. But we're never going to get better unless we fight for it, unless we organise for it, unless we win it. It's the whole history of social progress is one of struggle. And that was my struggle, becoming a shop steward. At 19, I joined London Buses. Becoming a shop steward opened up my world to trade union education, to meeting other people in different walks of life that were equally new shop stewards, that inspired me. I met people around me that inspired me, that motivated me to do something better with myself, that encouraged me to do that, that empowered me really to do that. And the union did change my life. Mm-hmm. Absolutely changed my life. I always say the union probably saved my life. And I've been very proud to have tried to put that back into our movement. Every position that I've held in our union, just as an ordinary member, being a shop steward, through to being an officer, now Assistant General Secretary. When I meet people that are in a bad way, and we've got millions of people in a very bad way now, I want to inspire them to step up and stand up and organise collectively to achieve something that they could never dream of on their own. Mm-hmm. On their own. And that's what we do as a trade union movement. We do that at work, of course, but as a trade union, we take that outside of our workplaces. I'm very proud of what Unite does, our community membership scheme, our campaigns in our communities, giving a collective voice to those that are not in paid work inside our union, like the old unemployed workers unions of the 1930s. We do that in our union. We give people that are often incredibly vulnerable on their own in very desperate situations an opportunity to come together, to build something that's better than they could ever achieve on their own. And that gives them the confidence to step back into wider society very often, to be better than they are. I don't know how to capture that, but I spend my life just driven by that, by a desire to improve the lives, both at work and in a wider field, in our communities and in society, to improve them, to demand and win what we deserve.